I've been watching the potential for another significant wave of cold air across Europe heading into the middle of this month, and recent model guidance is all in agreement of this happening. There's even a possibility of snowfall across Ireland and the United Kingdom, not to mention the widespread wintry weather coming into the forecast for many other parts of Europe. In this no-hype weather forecast, I'll be giving you the latest information on what we know about this current weather pattern and how it's going to manifest itself over the course of this week. We'll also look at how it may become favorable for snowfall in some areas that don't typically see it. Across Siberia and surrounding portions of Europe and North Africa, a weak low-pressure area is bringing widespread rain and some storms to the region, and this will bring snowfall to parts of Spain and France, but primarily in the mountains. Once that moves into the Mediterranean by the 12th, a very wet pattern will start setting up, especially for western areas of Iberia, with multiple waves of precipitation moving on shore. This will actually contribute to the snowfall chances for parts of Western Europe, as you'll see later. In the Mediterranean and Southeast Europe into the Middle East, widespread rain and storms is sprawling across multiple countries with heavy mountain snowfall as well. The high pressure continues building and expanding in the north, so this unsettled weather is going to continue getting pushed further south and east, especially around Turkey, but the break won't last long because the system bringing rain and snow to Iberia is already throwing some rain showers and storms in this direction, and we're going to continue to see that as the low pressure slides eastward through this week. For the northwest of Europe, and more specifically around the UK, Ireland, and Benelux, high pressure is firmly in place, with mostly dry weather continuing to dominate. And lastly, over northern and eastern areas, a small little low-pressure area will spread snowfall across western Russia as it heads directly south today and tomorrow, with some wintry showers also possible in the Baltic countries. This one may also bring a pocket of Arctic air with it, and you can see that more clearly by Thursday and Friday over Poland and Ukraine, where this little band of snow showers develops. Then right on the heels of this small system, another brief wave of snow will drop south from Scandinavia on Friday, dropping another few centimeters of snowfall across the Baltic countries and heading down through Belarus and Ukraine. These are the snowfall totals for January 10th through the 13th, and you can see how much of the Nordic countries will be getting snow, especially over western Norway and then further east over Sweden and Finland going into western Russia, with those little low pressure areas carrying a few centimeters of snowfall. Central Europe will probably not see much snow in this time frame, except for the eastern half of Poland. For southern areas, a couple of regions will experience snowfall. One is over the mountainous terrain of France and Spain due to that storm system there, and then over southeastern Europe into the Middle East, I expect a couple of slow-moving Mediterranean storms to drop some very heavy mountain snow. Until this point, we've discussed what's going on in the short range, but now it's time to talk about that next big cold wave and the associated snowfall potential. We noticed the first signs of this incoming cold wave by the 12th with that big cold front hitting the western side of the high pressure before sliding up and over by the 13th, becoming horizontally oriented. When the cold front becomes horizontally oriented after finding a way around the high pressure zone, it will basically become the gateway to colder air as it descends over the British Isles, Ireland, and the Nordic countries by the 14th. Then by the 15th, look at all this possible snowfall spreading across northern, eastern, and central Europe with that frigid air working its way south. This first wave of snowfall will mostly affect mainland Europe, especially from central areas and eastward. But what about the British Isles and Ireland? Well, we can't say for sure just yet, but there is a possibility that some of the storms impacting Iberia will come into play. It doesn't happen too often, but if we can get these storms coming off the Atlantic to move into northwest Europe just after this cold air arrives, temperatures just might be cold enough across Ireland, Wales, and England to create a rare switch over to snowfall. The time frame for this possible event, or multiple events, would be January 16th through the 21st. Quite frankly, I do expect snowfall to happen somewhere in northwest Europe, since widespread colder air is coming in at the same time as Atlantic moisture, but the biggest question is going to be the exact track of these storms and the timing. Here are a couple graphics to explain my point. If the cold air comes in too quickly, the Arctic front will suppress the storms south of the British Isles and instead deliver snowfall to western and central Europe. If the cold wave comes in late, then we could see those Atlantic storms push further inland, but instead of the switch over to snowfall happening further south, it could occur further north, so that would put places like London under another cold rain. If we do see that cold wave arrive at just the right time as those Atlantic storms come in, then we could see a perfect setup for a swath of snowfall from Ireland into the United Kingdom and even extending all the way into Western and Central Europe. First off, if you're a winter weather fan, the good news is that all the weather models are agreeing on colder air and precipitation meeting up at some point in northwestern Europe. But secondly, the less exciting news for winter weather fans is the fact that weather models are currently not in agreement regarding who is going to get snowfall. Could it be Southern Ireland and Southern England, or just Central England and the Benelux countries? Or will it end up being a complete bust? Well, we simply just don't know at this time. That brings me to my third point, which is to stay tuned for further updates. As a forecaster, being 7 to 10 days out is the range of time called pattern recognition. This is the time to study overall weather patterns, not the details. I'll have more refined information coming in future forecasts, especially the closer we get to this event, so definitely consider subscribing to this channel if you haven't already. Thanks for watching everyone, and I'll see you on the next one.